Greetings everyone. This video is going to be about how to get the best out of your session with me. So I just going to run through a few things so that you can have a more positive experience, particularly if it's your first session with me and you've not had any kind of experience with me other than my YouTube channel. So one of the things is, a great part of the first session is building rapport and communication back and forth. So number one, make sure you're in a quiet space. I can't tell you how many times I've spent a bulk of a session asking someone to repeat what they just said. So if you are using Skype or something, or you're on a phone, use a headset. That cuts down on the background noise quite a bit. It really helps, and you really kind of want to be in a quiet, sort of relaxed space anyway for the session. So taking a little extra time to create a quiet space, and then also having proper audio equipment so that communication is a lot easier, because that's the next thing I'm going to get into is feedback. So being an active participant requires feedback from you. So while I'm working, particularly if I'm doing some sort of energy work, I'm going to be tracking in your body, and I'm going to ask you for feedback, what you're feeling as I'm moving through the different practices. That gives me information, so I can either delve down a little bit more specifically, or I can address something. But also, if something is making you uncomfortable, I need to know that, so I can take a different approach, slow down, or find a way to gentle it. The other thing is that you need, as an active participant, you need to ask questions. If you don't understand something or you want clarification, you need to tell me that. A lot of times I won't know something unless you ask me. A lot of times that's how that works. So that, as well as what happens after the session, you're going to want to pay attention to what's different, either sensations in your body or emotions as they rise up. That's really important. If you keep focusing on what used to be or how things used to be, you're going to reset that energy and bring that back into place. So anytime there's been some sort of change during a session, you want to pay attention to that and notice that and just observe that until that becomes more stable in your energy field and locks in as the new reality. The other thing that will happen sometimes during a session is I may get messages to give to you for things that you need to do, or as in follow-up. So if I give you maybe assignment, when we've been shifting an energy in one area, and I'm getting that you need to do this, please be diligent with that. Keep up with that, because those assignments don't necessarily come from me. They come from Spirit. And with Spirit working with you, a good part of what happens is going to depend on how you proceed with that energy. So I hope that's helpful. Now, it's a little bit different if you're getting a reading, because feedback is a little different. So if I ask you for feedback in a reading, it will be like, does this make sense to you? And a simple yes or no is perfectly fine. In fact, sometimes I prefer that to more detail, because the less I know sometimes, the easier it is me to not censor myself. The other thing is that sometimes things don't make sense at the time, but they do later. So as long as some things are making sense, or you can understand, or it feels right to you in the moment, if we've taken a look into the future and you don't understand where that's coming from, give it a little time. Sometimes things make sense later. The other thing, whether it's a reading or if it's a transformational energy session or any of the other kind of healing technologies I use, give yourself time to process. Give yourself a little bit of time and space around you where you're not having to run at 100% or just with full cylinders going. And that will help as far as any sort of transition back into your normal routine. Sometimes a cleansing process is jump-started by session work. Sometimes old emotions that need to be cleared or released, they rise to the surface that can be uncomfortable or nervous. And a lot of times I will let you know if I think that's going to be an issue. But sometimes I forget. So this is me telling you, sometimes just give yourself a little extra space around your session so that it can process through you and integrate as easily and gently as possible. All right, well, I hope that gives you a little bit of information so that you can make the most of your sessions with me. All right, peace and blessings.